Hi guys, and welcome to my review of NXT Stand and Deliver. So here we basically had 7 matches on the card. We had Hank and Tank against Birthright. We had a triple threat match for the women's title between Jacy Jane, Lola Vice and Kendall Gray. We had Vanity Project against Los Americanos. We had Zario against Sol Ruka. We had Johnny Gargano against Miles Bourne. We had Blake Monroe against Taylor Paxley, and we had the main event, which was Tony D'Angelo against Ethan Page against Joe Hendry against Ricky Saints for the men's title. And I think that all of these matches were just absolutely solid enough. Okay, I thought the opening in particular between Jacy Jane, Lola Vice and Kendall Gray was an absolute amazing triple threat match. The amount of close calls here, the amount of to-ing and throwing, the suspense actually that this match managed to conjure was just fantastic. And I think the fact that we had this this spotlight quite deep into the match where it appeared like Jacy Jane had been knocked out. We had Kendall Gray, I think it was unconscious. Lola Vice had been knocked out to the outside, and we just, as she did before, we had Jacy Jane kind of like roll over, look forward that she was going to, that history was going to repeat itself, and pick up a 1, 2, 3, and then basically we had the camera pan over to look that Lola Vice had put Kendall Gray's foot on the rope. Just the choreography of this match was just fantastic. Just the way that it constantly kept you on the edge of your seat about which way it was going to go. It kept you guessing right up to the end. We had Lola Vice in the end picking up a win, becoming a new women's champion, which I'm kind of like down for. Again, Vanity Project against Los Americanos. I like that kind of like high flying lucha libre type of wrestling. So this match was totally up my street as well. There wasn't really a part of me that thought the Los Americanos were going to win the tag titles here. So that kind of maybe, especially after off the back of the unpredictability of the women's triple threat. That kind of like maybe tainted it a little bit, but it was still a fantastic match. We had the Zaria and Sol Ruka match, which I thought the storytelling was really good during this match. I think the little like kind of like emotional moments and the little kind of like story beats and character arcs that we got in this match was really well done. We had Sol Ruka basically hitting Zari with like about 3 soul snatches, I think, in this match, which is I'm never going to complain about. I think the soul snatcher is just the my most favorite move in all of WWE wrestling right now. So I'm never going to complain about that. We got a really nice shot in this match actually as well, where they were basically both on the outside on the runway, and we basically had Sol Ruka basically kind of like looking absolutely spent, just kind of like crawling herself up the ropes, and we basically had Zaria basically just rise in the background. Just kind of like reminded me of the Undertaker and AJ Styles Boneyard match. It just kind of like, if it's in the meme about, we just kind of like, it just kind of conjured up memories of that. I thought it was a really cool show. We had Sol Ruka in the end picking up a win after hitting Zario with a third stole snatch We had Johnny Gargano and Miles Bourne here. This was another really solid match. I think that NXT should be the home of Johnny Gargano. This match essentially provided a kind of like a throwback to that kind of takeover Johnny Gargano, and I think that this is kind of where Johnny Gargano belongs. I think that takeover Johnny Gargano was kind of peak Johnny Gargano, and where we see him now being on WWE, where he's just not being utilized at all. He's just been appearing kind of like week in and week, lying face down, seemingly in a kind of catatonic state, and just not being really utilized at all. I do think that I think that we should see Johnny Gargano basically becoming a more regular in the singles division on NXT now, where I think that he can flourish a lot more. We basically we did have Miles Bourne picking up a win in spite of this, but yeah, like I said, I'm just hoping that we do see a return to back to take over Johnny Gargano on NXT now. We had Blake Monroe and Tatum Paxley as well, which were, again, like I said, was another solid match. I thought that this was. I was hoping Tatum Paxley would retain. I felt Tatum Paxley would retain because I didn't feel like it was necessarily the right time to take a title off Tatum Paxley and put on Blake Monroe. But Blake Monroe is a massive star in NXT in their own right, so the potential was always there. So there was always enough intrigue, enough unpredictability, enough kind of like trepidation in this match that kind of like kept me invested, kept me really interested. Happy that Tatum Paxley retained here. Like I said, I think that was the right decision. And then obviously we had the main event, obviously between the Fatal 4-Way between Tony D'Angelo, Ethan Page, against Joe Hendry and against Ricky Saints in the Fatal 4-Way for the men's title. Like I said, just another Fatal 4-Way full of great in-ring performances, lots of kind of like to-in and throw-in here. It really kept you guessing, which way it was going to go. I don't think it did it quite as well as women's triple threat at the opening, but yeah, there was still like enough kind of like unpredictability here. I did predict Tony D'Angelo was going to win here, so I did get that right. But again, I wasn't confident in really any of my picks here. So guys, in conclusion, I was really happy with this pay-per-view. I don't think that obviously, compared to the PLEs that we see on the main roster, obviously it lacked the pizzazz, it lacked the gravitas of those PLEs, but there wasn't anything that was going to move mountains here. It wasn't anything that was going to really light up the internet. There were going to be no spectacular returns. This was just a very simple, by numbers, but did the fundamentals right. And I think that after what we've seen on the main roster and all the commotion going on there, I thought it was really refreshing. I thought it was just a really refreshing to actually have a PLE wrestling event that was just kind of, stuck to doing all the fundamentals just really well, and basically had, just essentially, just done just that, and had just been a really consistent, solid PLE event throughout. So yeah, I gotta give this Stand and Deliver this year a thumbs up. So yeah, thank you guys for taking the time to watch this video. If you enjoyed this video and you want to see more, don't forget to ring a bell for notifications. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Please feel free to let me know down in the comment section about what your own thoughts on NXT Stand and Deliver was. If you enjoyed this video and you want to see more, don't forget to ring a bell for notifications. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And I will see you guys on the next video. You guys take care.